Hello, colleagues. This is Arda again from Weekly in Series, and today we are going to discuss another past article, namely how to use gamification in lean teaching. So, actually, teaching is a little bit of a strong word. You cannot teach someone lean per se. Maybe you can, of course, transfer knowledge, information, how to use this and that, blah blah blah. But in a sense, the lean expertise is more of an experience than a transformation of information from one source to another. It is how you feel, how you experience problem solving, how you go through issues, how to manage the shop floor, etc., etc. So it is more of an experience than some kind of information. But anyhow, I think you all see my point. I am here trying to explain how to use the gamification in transferring knowledge of lean from one person to another. So it is quite an article. Before going too much into that, I want to share my experience in gamification, especially I think in learning history. The gamification was quite an edge because history was one of the most difficult lessons I used to have when I was way back in high school. But when I played an historical game in my computer, I remembered not everything, of course, but the key events in the history very clearly because you experience, you yourself see what is going on. You can go into battles, historical battles, you can see leaders, etc., etc. So you remember the major events in the past. So again, with this experience, the gamification shows that it is a very viable method to give people, to transfer people information. So in this article, we just want to go a little bit into that. Again, if you are also a gamer, of course, everybody will recall the long hours they spend in front of the computer playing and competing against each other. It is quite an experience. My personal favorite was a real-time simulation game, of course, historical simulation game, and my personal record was 14 hours straight, just playing and playing and playing. And when I got finally go back to bed, the only thing that I was thinking of was my next move. How will I going to move from one pace to another? So gaming is quite an edge, quite an experience that you may use. And if you use this power, this concentration power in actual learning of lean, it is quite a good way to transfer information because most of the time, especially in classroom trainings, in online trainings, the span of concentration is very low. And you may remember when you explain your colleagues something of a theoretical concept, after 5 to 10 minutes, people start to think other things, get focused in their mobiles, etc., etc. So the span of concentration is a small window. So with gamification, you can increase this window and be very much more productive in terms of transferring information. So therefore, designing a game and making your colleagues play with it will help you explain them very critical aspects of lean actually. So again, as you may remember, I said lean teaching is not that a good word because lean in itself is an experience. So in the game, in a safe environment, you can let them experience for themselves certain aspects of lean knowledge. So how you do it? So that is the question. How we can do it to make our colleagues see by themselves, see for themselves about lean experience. So you start with designing a fictional company. At least that is why I thought you can draw the value stream mapping of this fictional company and put a little bit more innovation maybe. Here in my example, there are maybe only four basic processes that is in sequence with each other, and they are being managed with push process. You can, of course, increase the innovation level in this example, but I was trying to design a very simple, very basic lean game. So I designed a fictional company, and in this design of mine, we are producing a very specific product that requires a series of tasks for the final delivery. A very simple, basic process. So this is your value stream mapping. Of course, it is up to you to show the value stream mapping upfront to the players, or maybe show it later in the improvement part. That is, of course, up to you. But nevertheless, I think it's a good way to start a design. So of course you need to design your processes as well. In this example of mine, there are 4 different products. As you may see, they are basically a 4 sheet that is being either folded inside or either folded outside, and written and printed certain letters with different colors. So as you may understand why I was designing this game, I was a little bit difficult with resources. So I had only pens and some A4 paper, and I thought, what can I design with these ingredients? So this is what came out. Anyway, so these are your products. Of course, when designing your products, you should put some differences, because that is where you complicate the production environment, because you need some kind of complication that the players will have to tackle with in their problem solving, in their lean reflexes, to develop their lean reflexes, which I call them the spidey sense. Because as many lean practitioners can remember, when you see something like that product complication, that product variation, immediately something starts to come up to your brain. For instance, is there a poker involved? Is there some kind of batch processing, etc., etc.? So you need to create some difficulty in the game for the players to tackle it. And here again, in this design, we have got 4 different processes: pre-folding, drawing, printing, and folding, etc., etc. And each different process does a certain part of the product as it is in real life. So when you do this, when you design and these processes, of course there should be some kind of a warehouse, because in the real life the products does not stay in the air. They need space, they need someone to manage, especially the raw material warehouse. And again, in this design, we have got a warehouse who is responsible for supplying the A4 sheets to the first process, which is namely pre-folding. And there are 2 trucks, which is one is responsible for in the factory transportation, and the other is responsible for delivering the goods to the final customer. So in this way, you also simulate the relations between the processes and the warehouse and the vendor and the customer. So again, that is also a good learning experience. And of course, as it is in every company, we have got an administration function that oversees the facility. And basically, they take the customer orders and follow them, ask the departments, track the departments, they schedule the production, they assume a forecast based on the game rules of the game. And in this way, they manage the organization. And we'll see how they manage it actually. We'll see in the game. But nevertheless, and of course, there should be some kind of a cost information. Remember, every round of the game, there will be a final result. So we need to show the participants that every action that they take in the operations, in the shop floor, in the manufacturing, will have an impact on their immediate success. And so we have the cost information. Our success is based on how profitable we are. So that is another factor. So again, as you may remember from the book, the goal, our focus is to make money. And we have, of course, an inventory holding cost, a quality cost if the product is rejected, etc., etc., labor cost that is in relation with our product. So all these costs and sales prices, and the final result depends on how you manage them. Again, we have got a customer in the game. Most of the time, many of our colleagues wants to be the customer. Actually, being customer in a lean game is very difficult, because now you are ordering and you are following up the deliveries, the quality, etc., etc. But nevertheless, it is always good to be the king. Um, so yes, customer is the king of our value stream. And so you may find it handy to make a physical design, how you lay out, how you create the process, how to place the processes in relation to one another. Of course, your physical room may be much different than what you have designed, but simply you can, in relation with your original layout, you can simply place different processes in relation to each other and create an initial factory layout. And also you can check whether the material can go between the processes with this design. And since the participants are the main actors of the change, if there are issues with your layout or with your design, you can ask your players to find it to optimize their own factory, which is the point of the game, of course. And anyway, after you do all this, maybe you can also add some activity tracking sheet and give it to the process owners. But most of the time, with the enthusiasm of the game, people tend to forget to fill their tracking sheet, so don't bother even prepare one. But it is always a good idea to prepare a customer order sheet. These people are friends, they know each other in the game, so it is very crucial that the factory or the organization to experience the uncertainty of the customer. So they should not know what the customer will order next. So fixing the orders to the customer is a good idea to give it to different sheets, maybe in the first round, in the second round, in the third round. And in this way, you will make the organization experience the uncertainty of the customer. So you start the first round, then analyze results and let your participants see for themselves the results and the potential reasons. So it is very crucial to make them see the potential reasons of failure in their own actions. That is basically the root of the continuous improvement process. And I advise to add a quick, very small teaching session where you can explain the basics of TPM and also basics of Pokeyoke, Jidoka, and other tools of Lean, 5S, for instance, maybe pull system, Kanbans, layout, flow-oriented layout, lean line design, maybe a little bit standardization of work. These kind of concepts you can make very, very short, very quick slides. And after the first round of the game, you may go and teach your participants these concepts. And in this way, they can use the newly learned skills in the next round of the game, which will make it very much stronger for them, since now they have got an experience, now they have got an aim to use the tool in the right direction, and they will immediately see the results. So I strongly advise a short training session before the second round. And remember always, this is a game, so have fun. And always remember, lean is a way of thinking, not a list of things to do. So thank you all and see you in our next YouTube channel video. Bye bye.